Honourable members, this country is being throttled by an electricity crisis. It has become clear that government solutions were too slow, too late, and too uncertain to allow for an early intervention that would have nipped the crisis in the bud. We are also in the grips of a water crisis. Don't fool yourself, it is already here. How government responds will determine how quickly we can recover. Water is indeed life, and yes, not dealing with a crisis has critical consequences. As populations have grown across South Africa, there have been no investments in building more water supply infrastructure. Too few reservoirs have been built. It's been much easier to rely on pumped water directly from the water boards, but load shedding stops pumps. Let me salute Mr. Stef Coetzee here and his team of engineers at the DA-led Midvaal local municipality, who saw this coming in 2014 and started refurbishing decommissioned reservoirs and building new ones. But the same did not happen in places like Ekurhuleni, Johannesburg, and Tshwane. In the face of rapid urbanization, too little was invested in building new storage. Now these metros all feel the brunt of Rand Water's inability to pump water to meet the incredible demand brought about by urbanization and organic population growth. Load shedding, of course, has had a major impact on this, with pumps just not filling the reservoirs quickly enough. In simple terms, it's like two people sitting at a table. A jug of water was enough then, but now there are 10 of us. As fast as the waiter tries to fill the jug, there's not enough to fill all of our glasses. And when the tap in the kitchen stops because of load shedding, people go thirsty. So the minister has promised 12 new reservoirs in Gauteng by 2028. We'll believe it when we see it. All I can see is another Medupi project where the construction mafia are lining up to take their share. But of course, only after the tenderpreneurs have gouged out their share, along with enough to make substantial donations to the ANC's election campaign and still keep the politicians in their pockets. Like most government departments, the Water and Sanitation Department suffers from an inability to execute and deliver on its plans. Our failed government gives birth to failed projects. Nothing of value is created by the ANC. They only take. Yes, Deputy Chairperson, new infrastructure is sorely needed. But if one looks at Mfuleni municipality's 64% water losses, investment in maintenance is equally important. There are many municipalities with similar poor statistics. The minister decries the high water usage of Gauteng without realizing that the majority of its purified water is returned to the water table without ever having been used to add any value. The Nelson Mandela Bay water crisis has had a massive impact on the region, with local residents being affected. Honourable Williams pointed this out. But business is also feeling the brunt. Government's response has been sluggish, with a disaster yet to be declared. Mayor Retief Odendaal has inherited a reticulation network that loses 44% of its water due to years of neglect. He has allocated 900 million with assistance from Treasury and the Department of Water Services to address the existing network. But the car manufacturers in the metro have had to invest in water management systems to keep their multi-billion rand operations running. When the Democratic Alliance keeps reminding you, honourable members, that government's job is not to create jobs, but to create environments where jobs are created, this is what we're talking about. The National Department has been assisting, albeit reactively, but the coordination across departments and across spheres needs work. The issue of maintenance cannot be overemphasized. On Tuesday of this week, Rand Water lost 200 megalitres of water at the Aikenhof purification plant due to pump failure. 200 megalitres. That is 80 Olympic-sized swimming pools. And this while residents of the southern suburbs have been without water for 6 weeks in places. The community forum picketed yesterday outside the Southdale depot. But residents of Mfuleni are used to such abuse. Sebokeng regularly faces 6-week outages. No plan from government, no commitment to the Constitution that gives us all the right to water in Section 27. Again, I go back to Midvaal and Mr. Johan Foster, who developed a water conservation demand management plan, which sectorized the reticulation network and with bulk metering and monitoring managed to reduce water losses by over 10%. But this took a combination of engineering skills, planning, project management, budgeting and finance, coordination, but especially political will to achieve. But there's no ribbon to cut when you replace an old pipe or install a bulk meter. There's no quick win or short-term strategy that fits into a 5-year political term. Matabeng is the second biggest municipality in the Free State, but it owes their water board 5 billion rand. But it cannot even meet the repayment plan to expunge this. In fact, they struggle to pay even for their monthly water use, partly because 56% of the water that they buy from Bloem Water each month is unaccounted for, and they do not bill it out to customers. Noting their poor revenue collection track record, the municipality cannot pay the water board, never mind plan to improve their infrastructure. The National Department has infrastructure funding for them, but it is conditional on finding a solution to the legacy debt. But the municipality has returned 209 million in grant funding recently, unspent because they simply do not care. The fact is that the municipality doesn't have the skills or the political will to fix the issue. Consecutive mayors just want to see out their terms in the hope that disaster doesn't strike. In conclusion, Chair, an holistic approach is needed. There's no sense in focusing on only new infrastructure or only on maintenance or only on water demand management. The approach needs to include all of these, together with planning and innovation. And we need to understand that we need each other. Rand Water's intervention in Emfuleni is marred by an administrative and technical team working in isolation and excluding elected representatives. And so there's no buy-in, there's no cooperation. Stick in your lane and let's collaborate for optimal results. And all the while, we pump vast amounts of sewage into our rivers and streams, making it harder and harder for our future generations to have even the same quality of water that we have. Is it not the job of a parent to leave your children better off than you are? This government's an embarrassment and a shame to all of us. We need capable leadership. We need the Democratic Alliance.